A snake is supposed to be something that people run away from. A snake is a symbol of death. A snake is a symbol that's something that symbolizes poison. It's something that nobody wants to go close to because it's a symbol of death. But now, when the people of Israel cried out to God through Moses, God said to Moses, you have to make a bronze snake. Imagine this is something that has beaten them. They don't want to see that at all. The last thing these people would want to see is a snake. But God commanded Moses and said to him, make a bronze serpent and put it on a standard. And those who are going to look on these serpents, even though they have been bitten by a serpent, even though the snake is a symbol of death, it is a symbol of a curse, those who are going to look upon this symbol are going to receive their healing. And Moses did that. And all those who looked at this bronze serpent, which is a symbol of death, they received their healing. And that is why the snake that is wrapped around a pole has become a symbol of healing. That's why they put it up on the pharmacies to show that this is a place of healing. Now, if we transport that to the story of Jesus, John's Gospel says in chapter 3, when Jesus is talking, he's having an encounter with a conversation with Nicodemus, Jesus said to him, just as the serpent was raised up in the desert, that is how the Son of Man will be lifted up on the cross. Therefore, the cross is no longer going to be a symbol of a curse like the snake. It has become a symbol of victory. And that is why today we celebrate the exaltation of the cross. That it is no longer a curse. St. Paul says in the second to Galatians chapter 3 verse 13, Jesus became a curse in order to take away every curse from our lives. Jesus died in order that we may live. Jesus went all through his suffering so that he may teach us how to be truly human. And that is why when we look at the cross, when we put on the cross in our houses, on our necks, when we put them on in our cars, it is a symbol not of a curse, even though it's shameful, but that shame has been turned into victory. And therefore we look beyond the cross, because through the cross is the resurrection. Without the cross, without the crucifixion, there is no resurrection. And that is why the cross has become a symbol for us that symbolizes something that symbolizes power. As St. Paul says in his letter to the 1 Corinthians chapter 1, in verse 21 he says, I chose shame to save my own people. Foolishness of God is greater than human wisdom. It is something beyond our own understanding. In verse 25 it says, God's foolishness is greater than human wisdom. If we look at it, all we see is a naked person on the cross. But in this cross has become our victory. In this cross has become our salvation. And that is why Jesus says, if you must become a follower of mine, if you must become a disciple of mine, in Luke's Gospel chapter 9 verse 23, then you must deny yourself, you must pick up your cross every day and follow me. We cannot do without the cross again. The cross has become everything for us, because in the cross is victory. In the cross is power. In the cross is no longer a cross, but through the cross we now receive the crown. Through the cross we now receive the crown. I tell you an imaginary story. It is something that never happened. Maybe you might have heard it, but it's not going to do any harm if you hear it twice. There was a man who wanted to compete with Jesus in carrying the cross. And he said to Jesus, Jesus, I know you carry the cross for the sins of the world. You carry the sins of the world on your cross. But I want to challenge you that I can carry the same cross like you did. Say that I can also save the sins of the people of the world. And therefore, two equally tall and the same weight crosses were made, one given to Jesus and one given to this man. And they started the race. The man ran very fast. Jesus walked slowly. slowly. He was walking slowly. But this man went ahead of time. He went very fast, and then he got tired. And he stayed, he ran somewhere, and he sat to rest, to catch his breath. And he found Jesus coming slowly. And he did one weird thing. He decided to cut his cross so that it would reduce the weight of that cross. So he cut it from the foot about a few inches. And then the cross became lighter. And he took off again, went faster because the cross had become lighter. But then, within no time, he decided again to rest. And he found Jesus still coming and struggling with his cross slowly. And he decided to cut it for the second time so that the weight would become lighter. And he did that 3 times. And because the cross had become lighter, he was able to arrive at the finish line, but there was a problem. Because before the finish line, there was a stream, there was a little river that was passing by, and he had to cross that river. And he did not know what to do. When Jesus came slowly and met him, he put the foot of the cross on one side, and he put it on the other side, and it became a bridge for him. He crossed on this cross, and he put it, and he crossed the finish line. This man was unable to cross the finish line because he had cut the cross and it had become very short. It was not tall enough to make a bridge. This is what happens to us in life, my dear brothers and sisters. All of us, we have crosses that we carry. It might be the cross of our family life. It might be the crosses that we carry in our places of work. It might be the cross that we might even be carrying in this chapel. Being a leader, being a reader, being a member of the choir, just being a church goer, and you find it so difficult to interact with some people. It might be the cross that you have, even with your neighbor. My dear friends, 1 Peter chapter 4, I think, from verse 12 to 13 says, my dear brethren, do not be shocked that a trial by fire is occurring amongst you, but rejoice to the extent that you share in the sufferings of Christ, that when his time has come, you will rejoice exultantly. The crosses we have to carry, my brothers and sisters, there is no shortcut to heaven. The only way, Jesus says, we must pick up our cross every day and follow him. And that is why when we are going through difficulties, when you have the cross, the crucifix in your house, it is not just for decoration. It is just to remind you that Jesus has showed us the way to become truly human, to embrace our crosses, the difficulties that we find. It might be a report that you have received from your doctor that is not very, very wonderful. I want you to look at the cross and make it the focus of your Christian life. When we look at the cross, in that cross, we are not going to find pain, we are going to find victory. Because without the cross, there is no crown. Without sweat, there is no sweet. Without suffering, there is no victory. And that is why we have to embrace the crosses that we have in our lives as Christians, knowing that Jesus has already won the battle for us. When he said it was finished, when he said it is finished, he meant that he has fought that battle and that he has paid your debt in full. And that is why, my dear brothers and sisters, we must learn to embrace our crosses. Because in our cross, in his cross, is victory. In his cross is our redemption. Even though it is a symbol of a curse, that he became a curse, that we might be set free from every other curse. That is why every exorcist will always have the cross, because it reminds the devil of how he was defeated. Put up the cross in your house, put up the cross in your cars, have the cross always wherever you go, because in that cross is your victory. And therefore, when we go through pain and difficulties, let us always put up the cross, because without the cross, there is no resurrection. Without the cross, there is no salvation. And we must embrace it, because Jesus has told us that we must pick up this cross every day and follow him. And let us therefore ask him for the grace through the intercession of Saint Padre, that we may learn to embrace the crosses of our lives and rejoice in the victory of the resurrection. Amen.
Let us stand up and profess our faith.